your first home is an exciting and sometimes overwhelming process. Buying your first home in New York City can be downright intimidating. Over 70% of New York City homebuyers report the process as being somewhat or very stressful. As they say, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And that's certainly true of buying your first home. There are a lot of questions to consider when buying your first home in New York City. How do I determine my budget? Where do I find an agent? Condo or co-op? Where do I start? Okay, slow down, take a deep breath. There's no need to stress. We're here to help walk you through the process and offer some helpful pointers along the way. I'm Carlo Romero, and this is StreetEasy Home School. In this series, we'll cover a variety of topics around New York City real estate, giving buyers and sellers the tools and resources they need to navigate the process. We'll use all the expertise, data, and best practices that StreetEasy has to offer. But before we get started, take a moment to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a video. Today's topic is buying a home for the first time in New York City, and we know how overwhelming this process can be for first-time buyers. So we're going to give you some helpful pointers and walk you through the process step by step so you have a good foundation to start your journey. Here's what we'll cover today. Knowing when you're ready to buy your first home, planning your timeline, determining your budget, starting your search, considering which type of home is right for you, and choosing an agent. Okay, let's jump right in with that big existential question. How do you know when you're ready to buy your first home? You've been dreaming about owning a home for a long time, and you finally have the resources to do it. For many, owning a home is a big part of the American dream. If you've been dreaming about owning a home for a long time, then making that dream a reality is a good reason to consider buying your first home. You want to make a home your own. Many leases have limitations on what you can do with the space. They don't allow you to paint the walls, put up wallpaper, and they certainly wouldn't allow you to replace their appliances. When you own your own home, you can make it your own. You can paint the walls whatever color you want, you can put up wallpaper, you can even replace the floors if you'd like. For many, this is a good reason to buy. You want more financial certainty and to start building wealth. If you've been renting for a long time, you know that rents can rise by a changing amount on an annual basis. When you own your home, the price is fixed and you can start building wealth through growing and appreciating equity over time. To mark a milestone, life events are a big driver of real estate transactions. If you were recently married or you're planning to grow a family, that can be a good reason to buy a first home. Becoming a homeowner is a big commitment, but it's also a very special moment. So whenever you feel ready, we're here to help. And if you are ready, you'll want to watch this next section, timeline and budget. Timing is key. So if you have a lease that's expiring or a life event that's coming up like the birth of a child, you'll want to make sure that you give yourself enough time to find a great home, negotiate an offer, go in contract, and close so that you can be in your new home by your target date. On StreetEasy, a typical timeline that we see from first showing request to contract sign is 2 to 4 months. Of course, some buyers find their dream home much faster and others take much longer. But 2 to 4 months from first showing to contract sign is a good timeline to keep in mind. Once you sign the contract, you can expect another 2 months or longer until the closing. If you're financing, your mortgage lender will use this time to underwrite the property, conduct an appraisal, and prepare a mortgage commitment letter. At the same time, whether you're financing or not, you'll likely be preparing an application to a condo or co-op board, one of the unique aspects of buying a home in New York. Condo and co-op boards can take 60 days or longer to approve a purchase application. Your agent will be a good resource on the timelines for the buildings that you're considering. Next, you'll want to determine your budget. If you're fortunate enough to be paying cash, determining your budget is a highly personal decision for which you may want to consult your financial advisor. If you plan to finance your purchase with a mortgage, finding a lender and obtaining a pre-approval letter will be a necessary step. You may start by speaking with your bank if they have a mortgage lending arm, or your real estate agent may recommend lenders who have successfully helped other purchasers in the buildings and neighborhoods you're considering. The pre-approval letter will tell you how much you are pre-approved to borrow from a lender. This number is a good place to start when determining your budget to purchase. Your lender may approve you for a loan with a 10 or 20% down payment, but many buildings in New York require a higher percentage down payment in order to purchase. On StreetEasy, you may find the financing percentage allowed in listing descriptions, as well as in the payment calculator on the listing page. You should also keep in mind closing costs, which range from 3 to 6% of the purchase price of a home, as well as your post-closing liquidity, how much money you will have left over after you close. You want to make sure you are comfortable financially after the dust settles, and many buildings will require a certain amount of cash available post-closing as measured by months of maintenance, common charges, and taxes. Now, the fun part begins, starting your search. The majority of homebuyers search for their home online, and fortunately, you've come to the right place with StreetEasy. On the search page, you'll be asked 2 questions, price and location. We talked about determining your price, so let's talk about location. Do you love the neighborhood where you've been living and want to stay there for the long term? Great, you've answered a big question. Are you considering multiple neighborhoods and want to see what's available in each? StreetEasy is a great place to compare your options. One thing you'll note as you're exploring your search results on StreetEasy is the different types of homes available in New York: condos, co-ops, townhouses, and new developments. We could dedicate a whole episode to discussing the differences, and maybe we will. But let's start with an overview. A co-op is a type of real estate in which buyers are actually purchasing shares of a corporation, and that corporation or co-op owns the building. Typically, the size of your unit corresponds with the number of co-op shares. And the bigger the unit, the more shares you own. Prospective buyers have to be approved by the co-op board, a process that usually involves an interview, references, and meeting strict financial requirements. Co-op owners are also required to pay monthly maintenance fees, which cover the building's taxes and operating costs, and abide by rules set by the co-op board. If you choose to buy a condo, you own the unit itself, and you jointly own the common areas of the building along with the other residents. Condos tend to be newer developments with more amenities and are generally more expensive than co-ops and have higher closing costs. Condo buildings do have boards, but the board approval process is significantly less intense than it is for co-ops. Condo owners are usually subject to fewer rules with more flexibility for things like subletting and pied-à-terres. Townhouses are single-family homes that share walls with adjacent buildings. There's no board approval required when purchasing a townhome and no fixed maintenance or common charges. As you can see, buying a home in New York City can be a complicated process that involves many steps. That's why around 90% of buyers choose to work with a buyer's agent to represent their interests and help guide them through the process. According to our research, what buyers value most in a buyer's agent is help understanding the purchase process specific to their situation, negotiating on their behalf, local expertise, and noticing aspects of an apartment or building they may not have otherwise. In addition to searching and finding great homes on StreetEasy, you can also use StreetEasy to find a great agent. When you click Schedule a Showing or ask a question on each listing, you'll be connected with a StreetEasy expert who has experience representing buyers like you in the same building and neighborhood. In addition, you may reach out to the StreetEasy Concierge to share more information for a more personal match. StreetEasy Concierge leverages data to pair you with the perfect agent. Buying a home is a big decision. We've covered a lot of information, but we hope that this video has given you a solid foundation to start your journey and makes you feel a little bit more comfortable and even excited about the home buying process. StreetEasy is here to support you every step of the way. If you have additional questions or would like to discuss further, please reach out to us. Our contact information is in the video description. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to our channel and let us know in the comments what you'd like to learn more about. We may just cover the topic in a future video. We look forward to hearing from you and helping you unlock life's next chapter. See you next time.